So before today's video, I wanted to mention that we were maybe planning on doing a live stream on Sunday, this Sunday coming up. Let me look what that date would be. I think it's the 10th. Yes, Sunday the 10th. Maybe around like 3. I have a super fun idea that I think would be really fun to do with you guys. So it won't be just like a plain talking question and answer live stream. It'll be an interactive live stream with you guys, and I think it'll be really fun. So let me know in the comments below if Sunday the 10th works. Hey guys, today I'm here to do a Tiffany's Tell All question, and today's question is kind of a weird one. However, I have gotten it quite a bit over the years. I've just never really answered it, I don't think. Well, maybe I have, but not like in a specific video. So today's question actually comes from, I believe, someone that doesn't completely understand the depth of the situation with Makayla, and is just basically naive to how things work with Makayla. So I'm just going to go ahead and answer that for you now. So today's question is, how can I speak so freely in regards to Makayla's passing or death without crying and getting upset? And don't mind the noise upstairs. Everybody's still awake and I'm trying to film this video. Basically, how can I talk about her death without crying? And the plain and simple answer is, I've dealt with it since she was diagnosed. Literally from the moment she was diagnosed, it was thrown in our face that we would have to talk about this. The second we came home and started researching about her disorder, basically told us that severe cases would pass by 4 months, which we were totally confused about because she was already 4 months, she was a healthy little girl, and we didn't know why that was. There's 3 different types of lissencephaly, and they all range with different lifespans. Sometimes they don't even make it past birth, and then 4 months, and then 10 years, and then up, and so on and so forth. So literally from the second we found out about her disorder, it's been thrown in our face that she would most likely pass before we would. Don't get me wrong, when I first read all this information and found out about her disorder and everything like that, I was heartbroken, I was devastated, I was depressed, I was, well, I would say a form of depression, but I gladly got out of that and understood the situation and was more thankful just to have her in our lives now in this time. Yeah, I did go through all the emotions. I went through regret, I went through sadness and hurt and mad, like angry, and just all of these emotions that you go through when losing a child or even anybody in your life. So basically, I want to say that I've already grieved a lot of Makayla's death years ago. I've grown up from being such a young mom to understanding Makayla's purpose on this earth, and that she's literally to be here to give us love, and that's pretty much it. And there are definitely times that I will sit down and cry and think about Makayla's passing. It's just something that's going to happen, and you can even see I'm getting teary-eyed now, and it's something that there's times where I can be like so straight-faced about it and talk about it so freely, and then there's other times where I actually think about it too much, and then I start to bring out these emotions. So it's definitely been thrown in her face since the moment she was diagnosed. We are constantly talking about when she does pass or how will she pass, and we have already dealt with one situation where we did almost lose her. I talk about that in this video up here, but basically Makayla got so sick and her body was not breathing anymore. She was put on CPAP and then BiPAP, and we held out for so very long to not put her on the breathing tube. However, we finally did decide to put her on the breathing tube, and that's because they could do more testing with the breathing tube in. But in those moments, we did almost lose her. I was watching her oxygen. There was like, I want to say like 5 or 6 nurses and doctors in the room and therapists, and they were all around her, and I could see the monitor and her oxygen saturation was dropping rapidly, and I could tell the nervousness in the room and the tension in the room when Makayla's oxygen hit 9. I don't mean 90 oxygen, I mean 9. And we were that close to losing her. It was a very scary moment. However, we were more numb by it that this was all even happening, because we didn't expect it so soon. However, I feel like though the next time around we will know what to expect. Luckily, Makayla just came through, and she's a tough little girl and fought through it. So we do actually have a care plan in place. I talked about this in the video where I talk about is Makayla DNR. We have a letter showing what we would like if Makayla starts to go downhill, or if she gets sick, or in any way, shape, or form is not well. There are things mentioned in that letter so that if we become unable to communicate with a doctor or a nurse or anyone about her and our wishes about Makayla, we can literally hand them this letter and say, this is what we've discussed when we were level-headed about the situation, when we're not under so much stress and anxiety. We've had to talk about it. It's not something that you can just not talk about when you have a child with disabilities that have a shortened lifespan. That's just reality, is that she will pass one day. And who's to say that is next year or 20 years from now or 30 years from now even. But we have to be prepared in this moment now for it to happen tomorrow. And that's just something that will always be in the back of our minds. Will we wake up the next morning and her not be here? It's just something that we've actually discussed. That is the best way for her to go, is if she was to pass in her sleep and us find her the next morning, would be the most comfortable way she could pass. Otherwise, the way we see her going is struggling through a sickness and her not being able to fight her way out of it. And we hate the thought of that. So that's why we've taken every step to try and make her life as comfortable as possible, but yet hold off on those things that will just prolong her life for no reason. That's why the last time around she did get the breathing tube. However, I fought and fought and fought for days for them not to put it in. And at the last few moments, I sat down with the doctor and we discussed the pros and the cons, and we decided that Makayla was healthy enough that she could come out of a breathing tube just as good as she was before. So that's why we decided to do the breathing tube then. So that is actually why we want her off of oxygen all day long, even during the night. And the doctors have always tried to reinform us of what could happen if we do not keep Makayla on oxygen all day long, all night long. And it's something that we've discussed, and we know, Kyle and I, that that is the way we would love her to go, is in her sleep and calmly and peacefully. So I will also have this video linked above, talking about why Makayla is on oxygen and some of the history about that. So I hope that answers that person's question. I know a lot of you that do have children with disabilities have gone through this and have also had to think about these things and are not naive to this subject. However, I'm here to try and educate people how we do things with Makayla, and I feel like this was something that someone very new to learning about disabilities and that type of thing might not understand or can't grasp the concept of losing your child without crying about it. And as you saw, I did tear up in this video. I'm not bawling my eyes out because I've thought about it for the last 10 years. And also this person had mentioned, you know, if I was to talk about Damien's death the same way, I would be bawling my eyes out. And that is completely true, because Damien's death is not supposed to happen until after hours. He is supposed to live a long, healthy life and grow up and have children and all that stuff, and he is not supposed to pass before us. So if something was to happen to Damien, which let's pray and hope that it doesn't, but if something was to happen, like a car accident or him get very ill for some reason and pass away, I would be a wreck, obviously. And I think with Makayla, when the time does come, I will obviously be a wreck for a very long time, but I will be more prepared for it when the time does come. And the only thing I can compare it to is like an exam. If you study and study and study for this test, when this test comes around, yeah, you'll be nervous for it, yeah, you'll be stressed out, but you'll be more prepared than someone that had not studied. So that is kind of a comparison, and obviously it's totally not the same thing, but it's just kind of to grasp the idea of what we've had to learn over the years. So I think that is it for this video. If you learned something new, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below, a kind comment. It doesn't matter what it is. Let's keep the video positive, and I guess I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.